pilot episode is I mean, not to be braggy, but the pilot episode is pretty good. I think pilots are really tough to do. So I think everyone involved did such an amazing job with our pilot, and they did everything. It's really gripping, and it leaves you just like, what? And I think the rest of the season plays off that as well. As much as that first episode is awesome, I think every episode is awesome. I remember when we were shooting it, you get scripts, and you're just like, this is amazing. This is like some cool subscription I get where I get this like email with the script in it, and it ends, and you're just like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And now that it's aired, you're like, oh my God, it totally lived up to the hype of those scripts. I played Detective Bill Wallace on the show. And there's two detectives on the show, Detective Cruz, who's played by the awesome Armando Riesco, and my character, Detective Wallace, and we're kind of two different sides of the police coin, I guess you'd say, where he's more of a caring, kind of good officer, and I have like a different way of doing things that's a little bit more physical, and I have a different, more dark outlook on things, I'd say.
Yeah, and you know, the first episode, which it was the pilot, it was funny. You know, Detective Cruz, he was in like they were standing in the interrogation room, and you kind of come around and you're like, hey, have you been working out? The comment was so random, but the way it was put in there was funny. But the show has a lot of factors to it. It's funny, it's gripping. It's wow, that's reality. It's it definitely kind of catches you, almost like what else is gonna happen on this show? What else is gonna happen? But I gotta ask you, what is it like, you know, working with some of the cast? You know, Common is in that. Also, the gentleman that was on the NWA movie, for some reason I can't remember his name right now.
Jason Mitchell. He played Easy. Jason
Mitchell, right? He's on there, and the cast is amazing. Also with the young kids, and I watched the writer Lena. She was on a talk show, and she was like, "I allowed the kids to cuss," and because in the show they just cuss freely, but I think it shows reality, because in reality, if you're in high school, if you're in middle school, 9 times out of 10, you probably do cuss. You're not gonna do it around your parents, but you know you're gonna do it, you know, with your friends. But talk about working with the cast and everybody that's on the show.
Yeah, well, I think you're talking about the cussing. It's like it's so cool as an actor to be on a Showtime show where you can cuss. I think every scene I had, I said the F word in it, which was awesome. But the kids in the cast, like. A credit to Lena Waithe, you were talking about, who's our show creator, and Common, one of our producers, and Elwood Reed, and all these people that you know, casted Chicago actors in a lot of these roles, and then mixed it and put together this great cast of, you know, local amazing Chicago actors, and Jason Mitchell's, and you know, Natari, who plays Ronnie. And, you know, these kind of actors. Jason Mitchell's amazing in there. Unfortunately, my character and him don't come across each other, but, you know, we would cross each other in the makeup trailers and stuff. And what a great dude, but what a amazingly talented guy. I mean, if you've seen Straight Outta Compton, I mean, come on. That guy is just unbelievable. And then you see that pilot episode, and that scene he has at the funeral is just like mind-blowing. It's like one take of him giving that speech, and it's just mind-blowing. And I tell people, like, you know, when we were at the LA premiere, the red carpet stuff, at the party afterwards, I was like, bro, that scene is unbelievable. I'm like, but I had to tell him, I was like, that scene made me a better actor, man. Like, that's a new goal for me. Like that to do work like what you put into that is amazing. He's really great, and the kids are really great. You know, 2 out of those 3 main kids are Chicago actors, and to the cussing and stuff. Yeah, you know, for how we grew up, you never really get to see. I think that's what's so great about our show, The Chi, is that like it's truly reflecting, I think, what life is like, not just for this community on the South Side, but like people in general. I think as much as it's about shedding the light on this, like what the South Side of Chicago is, you know, what it is in the news is, you know, murders and guns and violence. It's not. It's real people just like us trying to get through, you know, challenges and obstacles. And they did the writers did amazing jobs of like really reflecting what life is, you know, and kids cuss. I mean, yeah, man, cussing is like the best part about being a kid, right? You're like, these words are awesome.
Right, exactly. And you get to express it with the kids that you grow up with. You know, I think that you get to fully express yourself. And I think this show, like you said, it really depicts the people, just everyday people, everyday lives, trying to make it. So I suggest, if you guys haven't seen it, everybody out there listening, and you know, we have a very interactive chat room, so we may have some questions or comments. Anybody got any questions or comments for Brian, let me know. I'll definitely ask him. And also, we got Big L in the chat room. I do shout outs as well. It's, like I said, very interactive. But, and we're talking with Brian King of The Chi. But also, you've been in a variety of different things. I was almost amazed looking at your IMDb page. You were in Man of Steel, Empire, Boss, Chicago Fire. What was your favorite role, if there was one, out of, you know, everything that you've done so far?
I mean, the last year has been pretty amazing. So, I mean, I gotta say, The Chi is by far leaps and bounds, like the not just the greatest experience I've ever had, but like, you know, you get into this business to do stuff, you know, growing up in the 80s and 90s, and you want to be on, you know, you want to be on Friends and Cheers and The Cosby Show and things like that. And, you know, to end up being on something that is actually doing something really great and shedding light on stuff that's not usually on TV and kind of groundbreaking is like, wow, you know, we can do some good with the show. That it's been really amazing. But I'm also a huge nerd. So like huge dork. So like being in Superman movie was like mind blowing for me. I remember calling my dad that day being like, I'm going to be in Superman. So that was really cool. Even though it's like a really small, cool, it was like the coolest scene in that movie, and it's small, but it was still, just to be a part of that was really great. But yeah, I mean, I think everything is such, you know, to be an actor and get to do it for a living. I think anytime I get to go and act anywhere, you know, I'm a real lucky guy, and I'm having fun, and it's a really great thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a craft that if you're able to master it, or if you're able to be good at it, the opportunities that you get is amazing. So we do have a question from the chat room. It's coming from Miss Mocha Bella. She says, how long have you been an actor?
I've been, I've probably been taking it serious for like 16 years. I played like sports in high school and kind of like did a little thing until like, I studied theater for a year in college, but didn't do much then. And then like, about like, you know, 16 years ago is when I started taking it seriously. So probably let's say that. But I've been lying my whole life, if that matters. That's acting, right?
Yeah, that is acting. That is. You're definitely right about that. So interesting you said that you are a nerd as far as the comic books and the movies and everything like that. Two questions. Did you like Justice League? And also, how did you feel about Black Panther?
I mean, geez, I think it's we can't even mention those two in the same sentence. I think, right? Right. Black Panther, was unbelievable. Those guys did an amazing job. And actually, you know, if you've seen the movie, at the end, our main character, Kevin, the kid, he shows up at the end of Black Panther. He never told anybody he was in it. And then you're at the movie theater, and he shows up in that final scene, and I was like a proud dad. I was like, what? But Black Panther was unbelievable, man. I mean, everything about that movie, the cast, the acting, The story was awesome. And then there's that other movie you mentioned that is really just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The Justice League was I've been waiting my whole life for a Justice League, man. That was like, I just rewatched it again to make sure that I didn't like stroke out the first time and like miss something. And yeah, that movie's no good. And I'm really upset about it. Oh man, it bums me out, man. All the the fat 9-year-old kid inside me is pissed.
Oh man, it's for me. I wasn't really into comic books. Wasn't really in that deep into understanding the stories behind the movies. To me, Justice League was a good movie, and I came to work and I'm telling all my coworkers, and they're like, "What? Are you serious? That was one of the worst movies ever." So they always break it down for me and let me know that it wasn't that good.
I can see why. I mean, like, I don't think it's like, it's not a great movie. It's not like the worst movie ever. I think it's just expectations and what they were building with the movies before it. Now, see, now I'm acting all dorky. You got me dorking out. I mean, I'm not a comic. I'm more of like a movie guy. Like, I never read comic books or any of that stuff. It was just more like the movies of the 80s and 90s and stuff that was cool. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's not, my brother and I get into it. It's not terrible. It's just not what I wanted. There you go. Yeah. That's what there you go.
There you go. I think there was expectations that were needed to be met, and a lot of them just weren't. So I definitely hear you there. Another question from the chat room. Ask him if he likes deep dish pizza.
Oh my God. Obviously that person's never seen a picture of me because, my insides are made of deep dish pizza. Deep dish pizza is the best. If you're ever going to go to Chicago, I highly suggest my number one is Pequod's Pizza. That's number one. And then you want to go Lou Malnati's, Giordano's. So it's funny. Unbelievable.
It's funny you say that. This is coming from Vince Wright. He is from Chicago. He right now lives in Minnesota, but he said, try Pequod's Pizza in Chicago. That's what he said. So I'm definitely...
That guy knows what he's talking about.
He does. So, since this is a sports show, I like to talk about the sports aspect. What sports did you play? And then number two, do you rep Chicago sports?
Yeah, well, I started, as a kid, I played everything. It was like, I did the basketball, football, baseball, and then baseball, I think it was once in Little League, and then, like, got pegged in the face with a pitch, and then I just kind of was like, thank you very much. I think we're done here. And then it became football and basketball. And then, football is, obviously comes before basketball season, but too many people on my team are getting hurt in football, and then you miss out on basketball. So then I quit football after a while and just became basketball focused, in junior high and high school. And to this day, I still play ball. I mean, it's like therapy to me. I love it. Basketball is still, I'm a huge NBA fan, like huge still. But yeah, basketball. And then Chicago, I rep Chicago. The hardest I rep Chicago is the Chicago White Sox. I'm from the south side of Chicago, and my family, and I was born, and my parents grew up a couple blocks from originally Comiskey Park, where the Sox used to play, but is now like Guarantee Rate Field or whatever. I also grew up, in the Jordan era in Chicago, which is like, you can't ask for anything more as a sports fan. Like, I'm actually hanging out with my buddies tonight, some high school guys, and Jordan will come up at some point.
It does.
And
in the
I mean, it's like, it's the greatest.
Right.
It kills me that the Jordan crying, the crying Jordan thing is the thing now. It makes me laugh every time, man. Poor Sister Jean last week, dude. She got it bad.
Yeah, come on. Don't do it to Sister Jean. Don't do it to her.
I know, but the crying Jordan thing, I hate it on one level because it's just like, how can the greatest athlete ever get that? But also it makes me laugh so hard.
Right, exactly, at the same time. And it is undefeated. It's used on every single person that either is disappointed someone or someone that has failed. You will, in a matter of 30 minutes, you will see that on social media, probably on Instagram. For sure.
So it's like your worst nightmare if it happens to you, but at the same time, you've kind of arrived if it's happened to you.
Right, exactly. You
right?
become super
So my
popular
dream
with
is
that.
to get the